It's that time of the year where I have to stop pretending like it's going to get warm again. As you can see by how I'm dressed, it's cold out. Excuse me if y'all hear me sniffling. I have seasonal allergies, and when it's cold out, I get the sniffles. I am in the garden trying to clean the garden up because we've had rain. We're predicted to have more rain. We're also predicted to have a possible day of snow and some freezing weather. Our temperatures are dropping down really low. We're going to be experiencing temperatures in the 20s, 30s, and 40s this week. I think our highs might be in the 50s, but it's getting pretty bitter cold. And so if you guys can see on the back table, I used to have a lot of plants on the back table. I have been shifting those, covering them up with frost blankets. I have been repotting them, getting them ready to put them into dormancy like my peppers. And now I'm moving some things over to the shelving unit I have over here, and I'm going to be covering that up with the frost blanket because I have some tender plants that I've moved off of the table, and I will need to cover them up for the next couple of days. So join me in the garden as I prep for the winter. And if you all have not used insulated blankets before, I bought some of these last year, and I bought a few more this year because my garden has increased this year. And so these are really good for protecting, and it says ideal for flowering, annual flowers, bedding plants, vegetables from severe cold and freezing temperatures. And I found this blanket to work very well for me last year. I've already dug them out and moved them. I had some elephant ears on the very end of the table there, that very last plant. I don't know if you all can see it, but where I have my white flowers, my clematis, I had some elephant ears in that pot. And I wrapped everything you see here in front of that window with the frost blanket last year. And nothing in that blanket, in that area, went dormant. Everything stayed alive all winter long. So much so that when I took it off, the frost blanket off last year, the elephant ear was still alive. It didn't die back that much. And it was large and in charge well before the ones I have here on the side of the house over there. Those died back completely all the way down to the ground, and those had to reemerge from the bulb. And I don't know if you all watched my previous video when I talked about that, but I lost two of my exotics because I did not cover those up well. I covered them up, but I didn't cover them up well. So this year they are already covered with the frost blanket, and I've actually moved a few tender plants over there as well. And I'll show you what it looks like once I get these all covered up. I have to go out to the store because I need some more clips to tie this together and hold it, but I'm going to place it in place first, and then I'm going to run out. So I'll show you what I'm doing. Of the size of what I have to cover over here, I've decided to use 2 frost blankets. Now the whole point of this is to make sure that air doesn't come up under the blanket and the elements are not touching the leaves of the plants. So I want to do a full coverage, and I've been able to get it all the way from the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see. Let me turn you guys down just a little bit. I think you guys can see a little bit right there. The frost blanket goes all the way down to the bottom, and this one is covering just part of the top. So I'm going to connect 2 frost blankets together with the clips I'm going to go pick up in a little while, and I'm going to cover all of this. But in the meantime, I want to show you guys something really quick. This, I don't know if you all remember this plant in my previous video. This is my calendula. Some people pronounce it calendula. I pronounce it calendula. And some say pot marigold. This is that pitiful looking calendula that you all saw in previous videos. Remember, I've been cutting it back. I've been harvesting the leaves from it, and I do have some leaves that I need to harvest. Here they're going over. A couple of them have fallen into my rainwater reservoir. But this plant, and I don't know if you all know this, but it thrives. It absolutely thrives in the cooler weather. And I don't know if you all can tell, this is more of a beautiful buttercup yellow, and this is more of an orange. And I'm so excited to have both of these varieties. I didn't realize when I planted them that I had these two varieties in here, but they're absolutely gorgeous. And as you can see, they have come back full force. They are filling the pot, they're spilling over. I'm trying not to cover them. I won't be covering these up. I'm gonna leave them out a little bit because they thrive in this cool weather. But I'm covering everything else up. I have my lemon tree. Let's move over here. I'm gonna show you guys my lemon tree. Let me move you guys down just a little bit. That's my lemon tree down there. I want to make sure that it is covered up. I'm going to leave it outside. I brought it in the house last fall. It lost all of its leaves. If you guys haven't seen that video when I brought it back out and I talked about that, I've decided I'm going to leave it outside. It can do well up until about, I think, 45 degrees, but I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to cover it up, and everything else over here I'm going to cover up. But I wanted to show you guys these beautiful calendula because they have come back so hard. I mean, they look so beautiful, and I'll be collecting these petals because I will be making balm again as soon as they dry. But yes, this is calendula. So you get two shows. You get a spring and you get a fall winter color because they love the cooler weather. I learned that when I lived over in Europe, that they love the cooler weather. They do not like the Texas heat. But let me get back to this because we're going to be getting rain soon and I've got to get this stuff covered up. So as you guys can see, I took you off the tripod, so this might be a little wiggly. I have placed my frost blankets. I'll be going out to get my pins to secure them so that they're not flapping around the way they are right now. But I have placed my frost blankets. I have moved some of my brassicas to the front to make sure that I tuck the blankets here up under the pots that are inside, that are tender. I have moved some of my plants around that are a little more winter hardy to the front. So this is what will be seen until springtime. And that's pretty much it for me. You all will see a final picture of what it looks like once I get everything clipped up. But I've also rearranged the pots on the table, and what you see are some onions, some garlics, some lettuce, and some carrots, and of course my quinault strawberries that have hung on quite well. If you haven't seen my video about my tiny little strawberry baby, you all can see that one strawberry turned into, I want to say, 4 strawberries in this pot. So I'm hoping by spring this pot will be completely full of strawberries and I will have a strawberry harvest next year. I did put some experimental chickpeas in the pot just to make sure that it got the recommended amount of nitrogen, because I wasn't worried about the strawberry growing strawberries, but I wanted it to put on more foliage and more plant growth for me. And as you can see, it did that quite well. So I will be taking these developed chickpeas into the house and seeing if they're any good to eat. I do believe they should be. I didn't plant them for eating, but that's what that pot looks like. And my carrots are looking good. So I have begun to winterize. So that is it for me, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Until next time, have a good one.